My name is Jeff Axel. I'm the Chief of Interpretation and Partnerships at Grand Canyon-Parashant National Monument. Been here 8 years and represent the National Park Service.
I'm Rachel Carnahan. I am here with the Bureau of Land Management, Arizona Strip District. I work in public affairs and I've been here for 14 years.
Grand Canyon-Parashant National Monument was established on January 11th, 2000 by President Clinton, and it was the brainchild of former Arizona Governor and Secretary of the Interior Bruce Babbitt. He wanted to set aside this landscape so that it was preserving the historic uses of the land, the wild character, so that people could come out, find solitude, and have adventures in an undeveloped place. So we're here at about 7,500 feet on Mount Logan. This is accessible by vehicle, and if you have a 4x4 high clearance vehicle, it's a great place to come. We've got a beautiful view behind us of some of the Grand Canyon and some of our smaller side canyons. And if you come to Parashant in the summer, this is the place to come. Mount Trumbull, Mount Logan, Mount Dellenbaugh. If you wanted to visit Parashant in the winter, you're going to want to go to our Pacoon Basin area on the west side of the park, where elevations are as low as about 1,300 feet above sea level. Definitely not the place to go in the summer because it's very hot. This is the place to come in summer for beautiful views and great peaceful camping.
What's unique about the Grand Canyon-Parashant National Monument is its remoteness. It is one of the most isolated public lands areas in the contiguous 48. It's one of the last few hinterlands of the West.
So coming out to Parashant, it's going to take a long time to get out here, and you're going to want to probably stay more than a day to really immerse yourself in this experience. Anywhere you come in, whether it's Mesquite, Nevada, or St. George, Utah, or near Pipe Spring National Monument, it's going to take you about 2 hours to get to the monument boundary. And once you get here, you're still going to have to do some more driving to get to some of our amazing attractions. So just be ready for that.
You can do day trips out of Mesquite, Nevada, or St. George, Utah, get a hotel there and have clean water and all the amenities, because there are no amenities out here.
You can do some of our experiences in a single day. Some folks will do the Mount Trumbull Loop from St. George, and you come on in through Mount Trumbull on dirt roads and maybe come out by Pipe Spring National Monument. You can do that in a day, but it's going to be a day. Another one possibly is Twin Point. From St. George, it's about 3.5 hours one way to a beautiful, quiet viewpoint of the Grand Canyon, and then straight back to St. George. But it's really nice to stay overnight. And when you come here, you can camp wherever you'd like. We ask folks to probably stay where other people have stayed before, and those are pretty obvious, but we don't have designated campsites. So find a nice spot to stay, and then perhaps take in a historic site the next morning. Maybe go to Waring Ranch, maybe go to the Grand Gulch Mine and see how people mined 100 years ago. So really at least one night is recommended, but we have folks that come out here and stay up to the maximum amount, 14 days in one place. If you do want to stay out here for a longer experience, you do need to move after 14 days to another location in the monument. But there's so many places to discover here. The main thing though is make sure you bring enough gas, because there's no gas stations out here. There's nothing, just scenery. When you get out here, there's high country viewpoints like this one here at Mount Logan. If you're a strong hiker, we've got other viewpoints that are available by vehicle, like Hudson Point or Twin Point. Beautiful vistas, and if you want a Grand Canyon view without people, this is the place to come, because you can have a whole section of the Grand Canyon just to yourself. And we've also got great historic sites. If you want to see some of the folks, how they lived here at the Waring Ranch, Pine Ranch, you can see places like the Grand Gulch Mine, which was a very productive copper mine a century ago. These are wonderful places to visit if you like history. So some of the really interesting trails to do if you like to hike, we've got 4 wilderness areas, and places like that, we've got the Grand Wash Wilderness Trail. It's an old roadbed, it's pretty easy going. The other trails that are a little longer and more arduous would be like Mount Trumbull. It's about a 6-mile loop. You gain maybe 1,600 feet. A lot of it you're walking on volcanic cinders, so tripping hazards, and it's a bit slippery, but you're rewarded with incredible views to the south into the Grand Canyon and to the north to the Vermilion Cliffs. So Mount Trumbull's incredible. At the very top, you're walking through a ponderosa forest. It's wide open. It's just beautiful. Another one that's a little shorter, a little easier, is our Hell's Hole Trail, and that's about a little over a half-mile round trip to a view into, I guess I'd call it a miniature Cedar Break. It's a beautiful, colorful amphitheater of rock. Another one that's really nice to do, this is another one of our longer hikes, is the Mount Dellenbaugh Trail. And that's named for Frederick Dellenbaugh, the painter who joined John Wesley Powell on his second Grand Canyon trip. A little rougher just because of all the volcanic rocks. It's a 6 million year old volcano, so it's a lot of tripping hazards, but you're rewarded with views into the Grand Canyon and all across the Arizona Strip. Now this one's not for the summer, this one's for the fall, winter, and spring, but down in the Pacoon Basin, in the west side of the park, you're down in the Mojave Desert, we have a couple of springs. They're very productive with water, not the sort of springs you get into, but you can see some flowing water on the surface. We have a nice nature trail that goes around this spring mound, so it juxtaposes being in a very dry place with lots of water coming out of the ground.
The wildlife in the Grand Canyon-Parashant National Monument is pretty fun. I've seen mule deer up here at Mount Logan. I've seen a lot of jack and cottontail rabbits down in the desert valleys. Up here at this elevation, Kaibab squirrel is very unique. A lot of typical desert dwellers, you probably won't come here to see wildlife, but when you do, it's a treat.
Because we have so much of an elevation change here at Parashant, from 1,300 feet above sea level to here at almost 8,000 feet, you're going to find the desert plants, the Mojave, down in the Pacoon Basin. And as you transition up in elevation, you'll get into pinyons and junipers until you get up here, and we're in a ponderosa forest, including some old growth ponderosa with huge trees.
We want to thank you for joining us to learn more about this wonderful monument, Grand Canyon-Parashant National Monument. We invite you to come and enjoy the remoteness, the solitude, our wilderness areas, our hiking trails, our vast elevations and climates. See you here.